Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those who are watching live. Today is an opportunity to take part in the practice speaking, which we will be conducting for the next 60 minutes here. I look forward to as many people as possible getting involved and practicing their speaking with me. We'll be giving some feedback on that speaking and looking at some tips as well in relation to completing the speaking section of the IELTS test. So if you are watching the class live, then please let me know in the chat box on Facebook or YouTube, where we are currently broadcasting live, and I look forward to reading your comments. So hello to Anna Karanina. Welcome to the class. And also welcome to George as well. Great to see you in the class, who is watching from Egypt. We've also got Benita. Hello to you, Benita. And we have Maria Lopez, or Pique, who is watching as well. So welcome to all of you who are watching live. Thank you for letting me know that you are currently watching. And anyone else who is watching live as well, just let me know your name and where you're from. And we will get looking at some practice activities very soon. Okay. So I can see Jinky has joined us, who is listening from Abu Dhabi. So a very warm welcome to you, Jinky. And hello to everyone else who is currently watching the class. So as we start the class today, I would like to let you know, as is customary, about the opportunity that you have. If you are not already part of this opportunity, then there is a fantastic chance available to you now to join the IELTS scholarship program. You can sign up for that today. And signing up for this program means that you will have access to greater help and support from Swoosh English, and also from the largest recruiter of nurses in the USA, which is Connetics. So if you would love to work as a nurse in the USA, make sure that you check out this opportunity to get involved with the IELTS scholarship. You could do all of this for free. So contact us on the link which has been shared in the YouTube and the Facebook description if you would like more information on this. So let's have a look then at the class materials for today. And I want to go back to have a look at part one to begin with. So with part one of the speaking exam, we begin with this section naturally, and it will last for between 4 to 5 minutes. You will begin the test by being asked your full name and for your identification, and then you will get 2 to 3 sets of questions, as well as specific topic questions related to your hometown, your family, and your job or studies. So these topics are very common: hometown, family, job, and studies. You'll also get 2 to 3 other topics as well, which you will be expected to ask questions on for this section of the exam. So what I want to have a look at today is how we can respond to these sorts of questions. This is also relevant for speaking part 3 as well. The examiner will ask you a number of questions. How can you give responses which show a full range of grammar and vocabulary and avoid repetition? So let's have a look here. What I want to focus on today is paraphrasing, how we can paraphrase information from the questions in order to show our own variety in speaking. So when we talk about paraphrasing, what we're talking about is using different words to express the same meaning. There are multiple ways that we can paraphrase. We can use synonyms. So we've got an example here going from the word like to enjoy. they have very similar meanings. So we could use, if like is used in the question, we could use enjoy in the response. We could change the word class. That's another way that we can paraphrase. So instead of using enjoy as a verb, we could use enjoyment, the noun form instead. We can also use referencing devices. So that means instead of repeating words from the question, we could use it or this or that or possibly there in order to refer back to information in the question. And then a final way that we can paraphrase that we're going to look at together is changing the grammar. So, for example, if we have a word which uses the gerund, we might be able to use the infinitive instead, or make some grammatical adjustment to the word in order to provide paraphrasing. So it is good practice to paraphrase in the exam, because by doing so, you show a wider variety of grammar and vocabulary. So if you're asked a question, for example, what is your favorite sport? And your response is, my favorite sport is tennis, you're going to get fewer marks in the exam than you would get if you paraphrased that response instead. So let's have a look at some examples of paraphrasing within the context of IELTS speaking questions. And we can see here in this first example, the question. So the question here is about your hometown, and it asks, how could your hometown be improved? And you can see the response on the screen. The response is, I think having more cultural places and festivals would make my city better. There are some art galleries and museums, but not enough is done to bring attention to them. So my question is this: what are the examples of paraphrasing in the response? How has the speaker avoided just repeating words from the question when giving the response to that question? So let me know in the chat box if you can see any examples. Which word or phrase can you see? Can you see any examples of any grammatical paraphrasing? Just let me know if you can see examples of this, and share your observations in the chat once you have found those examples. Okay, so clearly has seen an example. Instead of hometown, which is used in the question, city has been used in the response. So absolutely, there is a good example there. So instead of saying, I think having more cultural places and festivals will make my hometown better, city has been used. Are there any other examples of paraphrasing here in this response? Okay, good. So Anna Karenina has noticed that instead of using improved, we've used better. Okay, so to improve, the expression actually here is to make better, to make something better, has been used instead of improved. So we have that paraphrasing there as well. Well observed, Anna Karenina. Okay, and McCoy as well. Yep, has also noticed the use of city and better here. Okay, so good. So that's one example then. Let's just confirm. City and better, definitely a paraphrase, but also would is a paraphrase, because if you look in the question, it says, how could your hometown be improved? So I could have repeated would, I could have repeated could rather, but I've used would in this case instead. It's a modal verb which has a very similar meaning, but it just allows me to use my own way of expressing myself rather than just copying the question. So let's have a look at another example. So here you've got the question, do you like reading? And the response, yes, I enjoy it a lot. I especially like to read when I'm alone and there's no one to distract me. Okay, so this is a response to the question for part one. Can you see any examples of paraphrasing here? Welcome, by the way, to Gurpreet, who's joined us in the class. Hello to you. So what do we think? Any observations? Yeah, absolutely. So Chris has pointed out that we've got here the use of enjoy rather than like. Absolutely. Like is used in the question. Enjoy is used in the response. Good. Any other observations here? Yeah, Joam as well has also noted that. Like for enjoy. And McCoy, McCoy, good, has noticed also some paraphrasing in terms of grammar. So here I've got in the question, do you like reading? And the response is, I especially like to read. So using to plus infinitive instead of the gerund shows a bit of variety in grammar as well. And I'm paraphrasing by changing that grammatically. Okay, so good. Some good observations there. So let's just have a quick look together then, see if there are any other examples of paraphrasing, as well as the ones that have been recognized. So yeah, enjoy and to read, which were pointed out, but also it. So it is a referencing word which we can use to refer to, in this case, the gerund in the original question. So we have this gerund here. So using that noun, we can reference it using a pronoun instead, using it. So that's another way in which paraphrasing was done in this example. Just one more example then of this. If we have a look at this question. So do you usually read for leisure or work purposes? Is the question, and the response, generally I'd say that I do it for fun. I mean, I do have to read for work too, but most of my reading is done in my own time. So what do we think here? What are some examples of paraphrasing that you can see in this response? Okay, so Jesse has pointed out, I think it's from the previous one, like and interested. I think that might be for the previous one. Okay, yeah, Chris has pointed out fun. Yeah, so fun is, what is fun paraphrasing in this case? What do we think? So Gurpreet has noted, yeah, leisure is what's being paraphrased. So for leisure is paraphrased with for fun. And here read for work instead of read for work purposes. Okay, so that's a shortened version. Alex is noting that leisure is paraphrased for fun, as is Anna Laure has also noted that as well. Good. Yeah. And Chris and Anna have also noted that leisure was paraphrased for fun. Good. Any other examples here? Okay, so let's just confirm. So there were a few more examples. So instead of usually, generally was used. Again, very similar meaning. The question was, do you usually read for leisure work purposes? So I've paraphrased this with generally. Again, we've got referencing. So do it. Instead of read, I'm using do. So do is almost like a referencing verb we can use to refer back to the verb in the original question. It is referring to read. So we've got some paraphrasing there. And as was noted, fun for leisure. Reading is another paraphrase. So instead of using the verb read, we've got the noun reading in the answer. And own time is another way of paraphrasing leisure as well. Leisure is time that you have to yourself. So own time is a way that this is paraphrased. So I can see that some of you are thinking about how you would paraphrase this. So that's what I'd like you to share in the comment box now. So how would you paraphrase your response to this question? Do you usually read for leisure or work purposes? Just very quickly, give me some ways that you would paraphrase that, obviously not using the same ones that I've used, using some different words or expressions. How could you paraphrase the question in this case? So Jesse is talking about free time. Absolutely. So we could use free time instead of leisure. A pastime. Yeah, pastime can be used as well. Good. Any other ways that we could paraphrase this? Again, just let me know in the chat box if you can think of some other ways. How else could we say usually or generally? Any ideas on that one? So another one for leisure. Yep, spare time, Anna Laure. That's a good suggestion. Absolutely. Okay, good. So Gurpreet has given a full response here. He said, well, it's mandatory for me to do a certain amount of reading as part of my job, but I probably read more for enjoyment. Good. So we've got a few examples there, haven't we? Reading as part of my job rather than work purposes, and reading instead of read as well. So good. Yeah, there are a few examples there. So instead of usually, by and large, says Anna Laurie, that's a good one. Myra, instead of leisure, says free time. So those are some good ones as well. Peter, normally instead of usually. Yep, absolutely. That's a very good paraphrase. And Summer also, by and large, instead of usually. That works as well. Okay, and we've just got another response here. Netra says, I adore reading as a pastime activity, as well as to update myself in my profession by reading my professional books and articles related to the health sector. Okay, great. Yeah, so reading, again, instead of read, pastime instead of leisure. Good. Chris, reading fascinates me. It provides pleasure during my spare time. Good. Good, but make sure you do answer the question as well, Chris, because it says, do you usually read for leisure or work purposes? So just something direct to say, so normally I do it during my free time. A paraphrase for usually, broadly speaking, says Jesse. Great. Okay, great. So some great ideas here in terms of how we could paraphrase. Let's put that into practice even more, because now we're going to do some speaking practice. So let's see who would like to participate today. If you are in the class live, if you've joined the StreamYard, please make sure that you have your devices connected, because that way I can bring you in without technical issues. Fingers crossed. So if your devices are not connected, it's going to make it more difficult for me to bring you in. So please ensure that you do that. But let's start with Jesse. So if your devices are not connected, it's going to make it more difficult for me to bring you in. So please ensure that you do that. But let's start with Jesse. So if your devices are not connected, it's going to make it more difficult. We've got an issue there, Jesse. Sorry, I'm hearing myself echoing whilst I brought you in. So I'm not sure why that's happening. So if you manage to get that resolved, Jesse, just let me know, and I'll try and bring you in a little bit later. Okay, so let me bring in Pepe. See how we're doing there. Hi there, Pepe.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Excellent. Good.
Great to hear it. Where are you watching from?
I'm watching from the Philippines.
Okay. And I don't think, have you participated before in this class?
No, this is my first time.
I thought it was. So welcome, a very warm welcome to you, Pepe. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at some part one questions, and I'd just like you to respond to them as you would in the IELTS exam. So it's a good idea, obviously, to make sure that you answer the questions directly. But if you can paraphrase your answers to avoid repetition, you'll get more credit for it. And if you can expand where appropriate, then you'll get credit for that as well. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to try. Let me try it. Hopefully, I can answer those questions.
Perfect. Okay, let's have a go then. So the topic then that I would like to start with today is on getting up early. So Pepe, my first question for you is, how often do you get up early in the morning?
I usually woke up around 5 a.m. in the morning so that I would get myself tidy, because I need to do a lot of things to get myself organized. I usually do the 20-20, wherein I get the chance to probably meditate for around 20 minutes, pray, as well as to do some warming up and stretching up in order for me to start my day.
Okay, and do you get up early on weekends?
Yes, definitely. I'm an extrovert type person. Love to going out, especially probably playing tennis, because I'd love to engage myself on playing in a wide range of variety. I'd love to go out doing outdoors activities in order for me to increase my physical dexterity, as well as to get engaged and socialized. in an external environment.
Are you the only person who wakes up early in your household, or do other people wake up early as well?
I'm the only one who I think who were only waking up. As a matter of fact, I need to wake up early in order for me to prepare for myself to go to work, because I find it quite odd if you're gonna go wake up late and go to your workplace without even prepared.
Mm. What kinds of people usually get up early?
I think those people who were on maybe probably working in the white collar jobs, those people working at the office, and those healthcare practitioner. I think there are a lot of people who are getting up early in order for them to get to work on a workplace, so that they would prevent the hustle and bustle traffics, and they just want to prevent it, so that they would be in a workplace in the right time.
Why do you think some people don't like getting up early?
I think it's because they feel lazy. I think they felt uneasy, or they have some probably not or they probably have issues within themselves. Because for me, I find it onerous if I woke up early in the morning, so that I would get myself or the task to be done in a beautiful way. Because I find it quite right. I find the day quite right if I would start my day so that I would get myself organized. So this is my
Okay.
idea.
Okay, thank you very much there, Pepe. Some very nice responses to the questions, very direct and clear, and you were using some nice language as well in terms of answering the questions. I particularly liked the phrase "white collar jobs," referring to the different types of people who would get up early. Um, and also, I like the fact that you were able to link your ideas quite nicely as well in terms of your responses. Um, just say, so in order to, you used on a couple of occasions. It is more common that we would use this expression in writing more than speaking generally. Um, so as an alternative for that, we could use, we tend to use more sort of simpler, generally speaking, linking expressions, so things like so. Um, that will be the most common way to sort of link it. So we wake up early, or just two as well, tends to be more common in terms of linking ideas together. It's not wrong, but just to say it does tend to be a little bit more common in writing rather than speaking. But yeah, but it was good that you were linking your ideas together. Just a couple of other comments. So you said at one point, I love to engage myself, I think, in the events of the day. So rather than engage myself, we'd usually use the passive. So I love to sort of be engaged um, uh, rather than the reflexive. So it's good that you're using that vocabulary, nice vocabulary item to use, engage. But if you use the passive, then that would be the more common way of using that within the sentence. So yeah, I love to be engaged in activities in the morning, for example. Also, just be careful about tense, because you said I usually woke up, but you're talking about sort of in general daily routines. So you would use the present tense. So I usually wake up would be what you would use there. But it's good that you obviously were paraphrasing how often. Usually there's a paraphrase in that case, rather than using often. So that would be a good example of paraphrasing there. So thank you very much there, Pepe. You did a good job.
Many thanks, Alex, for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
No worries at all. Okay, that's great. So let's continue with doing a little bit more practice then. Jessie said that she is now connected, so let's try and bring Jessie back in. Are you there, Jessie?
Hi, Alex. I'm here back. Yeah.
Good, good. I'm not sure what happened before.
I just don't know
I
what
just kept
happened.
hearing myself repeated.
Yeah. Now it's not echoing, no?
No, it's working fine now. It's working fine.
Yeah, fine,
Uh,
fine, fine.
so where are you watching at the moment, Jessie?
Yeah. Currently, I'm watching from my home. I don't know what happened. Like my internet is slow. That is why you're not getting. I was not getting connected to the stream.
Ah, so there was a delay.
Yeah, so I offed other devices. So I was just concentrating on this device. So I switched off all the device. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, these things happen. Which country are you in, Jesse?
Currently, I am in Bombay.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay then, Jesse. So we're going to continue with some part one questions. So are you ready to move on to a new topic?
Yes, sir. I'll try.
Brilliant. Okay. So the topic that I would like us to look at today is recycling.
Okay.
So my first question for you, Jesse, is do you often recycle?
Yes, I do recycle often. That is, the way that I segregate my waste. That uh, in my house, I segregate the wet waste and dry waste, and then I give it to the concerned person, and then I try to recycle my product. Even I make the best use of the waste, and I mean to say the paper or the plastic, the metal, glass, anything, whatever I get, I try to recycle it.
And have you always recycled?
Yes, that is from my childhood.
Hello?
Taught. Hello.
Sorry, you just went a bit quiet then. Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, sir. My recycling was taught in my school age. That is during my adolescent. That is in my high school. My teacher taught me how to recycle the things. So I learned it from my teacher, and from then on, I'm continuously recycling. Anything waste I get, I don't throw it in the dustbin. And even if I throw it, I see to it that if anything like waste, especially the vegetable waste or something, I try to decompose it and try to make the best use of it by making a manure or fertilizer, and I fertilizer my plants and other things also. Whatever I get, if I can make the best use of it, so that this is the way I recycle my things. Yes.
And how do you feel when you see rubbish left on the roads?
When I see any rubbish on the road, if it is a plastic or anything, I call the municipality people and try to see that it is segregate. I mean to say separated from the. Suppose it is a paper or plastic or anything. I instead of putting everything on because in our where I stay, there is dustbin where there is wet waste and dry waste. So I see to it that if I pick up any rubbish, first I will see whether it is wet waste or dry waste. If it is plastic, metal, glass, or anything, I try to put it in that, and then I try to call the concerned like municipality or anybody who comes to pick up the waste, and then they take it to the place where they can recycle it.
Why do you think some people choose not to recycle?
That is, I think so. The ignorance. It must be. They must be not. They have. They have not much of knowledge. It is a waste of resources. We should be. Education should be provided to such people that why they should not recycle the waste, because the number of papers what we use, or the people throughout many of the food stuff and everything, we can teach or we can educate the public or citizen how we can bring about changes in our country, and we can conserve the energy, and we can make the best use of it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much there, Jesse. You had a lot to say on this topic. You really expanded well on the questions.
Thank
Is
you,
this
sir.
something that you're passionate about?
I have yes, in my school days, our teacher used to teach us, make the best use of the waste. This was the
Uh,
topic always given for us. So even in my house, when our cleaners come to pick up the waste, they tell us that did you separate, and we do separate, and then we give the waste. So this is the way we
nice.
help the country, yeah, in the society also. Yes, sir.
Great. Yeah. So it was great. So you're using lots of really good vocabulary. So you're talking about use it as fertilizer. You use some really great expressions as well. You talked about it being a waste of resources when people don't recycle. You also talked about the fact it's important to bring about change. There was some good paraphrasing as well. So you were avoiding repetition yourself. So you're talking about segregating the rubbish, then separating the rubbish just to avoid that repetition. So
Yes.
that was good. So well done there, Jesse.
Thank you.
So just a couple of points, just whether some slipped. So you said that I fertilizer my plants, but fertilizer is the noun. So if you're using it as a verb, you'd want to use fertilize. So I
For
fertilize, yeah,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
fertilize my plants. And also, you said you don't throw it, but if in the context of rubbish, you throw it away, is the expression.
I don't throw
So
it away.
exactly, I don't throw it away would be correct in that case. Yeah. But yeah, so those were just a couple of slips that I noticed. Also, just finally, sometimes with countable, uncountable nouns, there were some slips. So you said that you make a manure, but manure is not countable. So you could say I make some manure or I just make manure, but you wouldn't be able to use with it because it's not countable. But then another stage you talked about you said you what was the expression there? You used a dustbin. So but you
Trash, trash.
didn't.
So yes, yes.
Yeah,
In
that's it. Yeah, but you didn't use it with an article. Um, so you might say, yeah. So you said there's, that's it. You said there's dustbin, but you would have to say, yeah, there is a dustbin in that context
so
because
we need
it's
to say
singular.
dustbin or trash, Alex.
Dustbin is fine. Dustbin is fine. Yeah,
Ah,
dustbin's a
okay.
good word. Yeah,
Oh,
it was just at the time it should have been used with an article. That was the only mistake there.
yes, Alex. I
Um,
got it. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
okay, but apart from that, very well done, Jesse. So thanks very much for contributing to those questions.
Thank you so much, Alex. Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Okay, so we're going to continue. I'm just going to bring in. We've got a few new students in the class today, by the looks of it. So I'm just going to bring in Chokla. Hi there. Are you there, Jokla?
Hello. Good. Yes. Hello. Good.
Hi.
Hi, good
How are you?
Good.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. So you're new to this class, is that right? I don't think I've seen you in the
Yeah.
class before.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So how are you doing today, Jokla?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. And where are you calling from?
From Philippines.
Okay, in the Philippines. Great. Okay, so we're going to move on to do some more part one practice in just a moment. But just before we do, Jokla, I just want to let those who are watching know about the opportunity, the scholarship opportunity, which we have. If you want to participate in the class the way that Jokla is about to do just now, then you have a fantastic opportunity to do that by joining the IELTS scholarship program. So you have the opportunity to work with Connetics, which is the biggest recruiter for nurses in the United States. So make sure you check out the Swoosh English Connetics USA IELTS scholarship, in which you could work and live in the United States as a nurse, and you could do all of this for free.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, so let's have a look then at the topic of texting, Jokla. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, Chocolate. So first question, do you like texting?
Yes. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, almost every day I'm sending messages to my relatives and friends rather than calling them because it's expensive to use to use them. I mean to call them rather than texting.
Okay. And do you prefer sending or receiving messages?
Mm, well, I prepare both because of course if I send a message I need a response for my inquiry. So I prepare both.
Okay. Have you ever received a confusing text message?
Um I'm hardly receive some confusing messages. And if ever that I receive this kind of message, I usually call the person, especially if I I think that it's important message.
So do you think that it's usually clearer to call someone than to text them?
Oh yes, I do. Especially in the emergency cases or some inquiries about work. So I prepared to call the person or the person could call me so that it's more clear.
And what kind of text messages do you find it difficult to respond to?
Mm, oh, that's um maybe if I don't know about the topic that the person is asking. So I have difficulty on responding. So sometimes I would call and ask what the person what trying to imply.
Okay, thank you very much there, Jockler. Some really good responses.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So you answered the questions directly, which was great. So it was very clear what your view was. You could have expanded just a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
on some of them. For example, the ones that you find difficult to respond to. So you did say that maybe you could have given an example. So a text that you received from someone, and it was a bit difficult to respond to it for whatever reason. And so, what did you do? Did you decide to ignore the text message? Did you decide to give them a call, etc.? So yeah, just maybe sort of giving examples sometimes just helps to expand a little bit more. Um, yeah, so I thought that would have been an opportunity that could have been taken. Um, but yeah, but you spoke with a good level of accuracy, and you were paraphrasing quite nicely as well. So you used difficulty responding rather than difficulty replying, which was good. And also you were using I like the fact that you use rather than as well, which was nice. So instead of doing something, so rather than calling, so you're using the gerund correctly there as well. Just one final thing. You said when I asked you about whether you prefer sending or receiving messages, you said I prefer both. It's not possible to prefer both because you have to. If to have a preference means to like something more than something else. But you could say I like both or I enjoy both. But just be careful. If you talk about prefer, then you're saying that something is ahead of something else. So you'd have to make a choice in that case. But yeah, aside from that, thank you very much, Jocelyn. Okay, so let's continue then. We'll do one more part one practice. In fact, let's move on to some part two practice now, actually, for the next part of the class. So I'm going to bring Noreen into the class now. See if you're there. Are you there, Noreen?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Hi. Is this the first time you participated, Noreen?
I think this is
Or
the first time I'm participating with you.
yeah.
Though I used to be in class with Steven on Monday.
Okay, so you're familiar with the IELTS setup.
Yeah,
Good, good. Okay, so we're going to move on to have a look at some part two questions now, then, Noreen.
sure.
And for part two, you will be presented with a question, as I'm sure you're aware, which you'll have 1 minute to prepare a response for. And then you should speak on this question for up to 2 minutes. So always aim to speak for 2 minutes. The examiner might stop you before then, but if you aim to speak for 2 minutes, then you will be more successful in this task. So here is a task that I'm sharing right now. Can you see that on the screen, Noreen?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, Noreen, so you have a minute to prepare your response to this question. Okay, so Noreen, are you ready to begin?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so please describe a time when you waited in line for a long time.
Okay. I would like to tell you about a time uh, when I was waiting in a line for a queue for a long time. It was happened recently. I would say last Sunday, when there was an Easter going on. I went to a Walmart to buy some stuff. Uh, I have a baby, so I have to buy some necessary stuff for my baby, mostly baby diapers and wipes. So I went to Walmart to buy that stuff. I was unaware that Walmart should be like a jam packed there, and I couldn't be able to buy stuff as easily as I can buy on ordinary days. So I went there. I just took my stuff and put it on my crate. I was in a line. I was like, that line will be dismantled within 10 or 15 minutes. So I waited there. It was like an hour, and I waited for like 3 hours in a queue. Because of Easter, every trolley was filled with so many stuff. And for Easter they have to buy some items for cooking, like chicken, or sometimes the spices, sometimes gifts as well. So all the trolley was filled with most of the items, so everyone was taking a long time to finish their transaction. I feel exhausted sorry I felt exhausted, and I have a baby with me, and she was crying her lungs out. So I was unable to console her. I have so many stuff on my trolley, so everything was just beyond my hand. So I was
Okay,
unable.
thank you. That's great. Thank you very much, Noreen. So no problem there in terms of continuing to speak for the required time, which is always a great tick in the box. So well done with that. Yeah, you used appropriate vocabulary in your response. You were referring to Easter and the items that you were buying, diapers and wipes as well. You expressed your ideas as well in a clear fashion. There were some nice collocations. You talked about finishing your transaction. You said in your trolley, each trolley was filled as well. Which was nice. So just one slip in terms of using. You said you expected the line to be dismantled. So that's not quite the correct word to use in that context. Yeah. So you might expect the line to sort of to shrink or to get smaller rather than dismantle.
I was unable to recall that word, so I just said dismantle. I'm so
Use word
sorry.
dismantle. No worries. Just also at the beginning of the class, I talked about paraphrasing, but right at the start of your response, you copied a lot of the words from the original question. So be careful about that. That's the thing with paraphrasing. You want to avoid just repeating the words that are in the question where possible. So yeah, so think about how you could paraphrase that. So instead of said, here's a time when I waited in line for a long time, you could say, I'm going to talk about an occasion where I spent a long time queuing. And so you can, put it into your own words that way. It was good that you self-corrected on the tense. So you said, I feel, then you changed it to I felt. But then you used the present tense in what you were saying afterwards. So you said, I have a baby. But of course you want to say I had a baby because you're describing what happened in the past at that stage. And also just with stuff. So stuff is uncountable.
Okay.
So you said, I had so many stuff, but so much stuff would be more appropriate in that context. So some nice vocabulary in there, Noreen, but just do obviously pay attention to just some of the inaccuracies with vocabulary and grammar,
Sure.
and the paraphrasing as well.
Sure, sir. I'll look into your ideas.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Noreen. That's great. Okay, so let's move on to another question, and I'm going to bring in Alice for this one. Are you there, Alice? Hello, Alice, are you there? Okay, so I can hear something, but it doesn't seem as if Alice is here to participate at the moment, um, unfortunately. So let me bring um, Clairly into the class. Are you there, Clairly?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Fine. I've had a busy week,
A
but
busy week.
I was
Oh,
still able to carry on.
good, good, good. I'm glad you managed to make it work. Um, okay, so clearly we're going to look at a new topic now. Are you ready to look at a new
Mhm.
topic?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So we're going to look at the topic of the weather, which is people say that's British people's favorite topic. Is that true in the Philippines as well?
In the Philippines, I really had a big laugh because you know why? In the
Go on.
Philippines, it's always humid.
Okay.
Always.
So there's not much to say, really.
No, not really.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Chloe. So you've got a minute then to prepare your response to this question.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay, Clearly, are you ready to begin?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Brilliant. So please describe your favorite weather.
Okay. The weather that I love most is summer. Summer, sunny or summer. Like I like sunshine. So I like the feeling of the feeling of uh I know it's hot, yes, but I as time passed by, because now currently now I'm living here in Saudi Arabia, so here it's always hot. I mean, most of the season is hot. Most of the months, from March until October, it's hot. It's summer. So what we usually do during this weather is that we go out, we swim, um, but of course nowadays there's pandemic. We all know that it's not really that possible, not unless like here in our social club we have this swimming activities, outdoor activities, but you have to book them first. So like it's all nowadays, uh we and enjoy the sun, enjoy the summer, but in a limited slot for safety and for.
Clearly, your sound is not clear.
Huh? It's not clear. Oh my God,
Now it
sorry.
is.
Oh,
Now it is. Yeah.
now it is? Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, so where am I? So, okay,
Hello.
I was describing about. Hello? Yeah. Well, I was describing
Yeah.
about our social activities during summer. So, as what I've told, we have this social club that we have to book ourselves because we have an pandemic going on now. We have to book ourselves a day before or a week before for us to have social activities like swimming. We can go tennis. We can go outdoors, going to the zoo, and take our families to somewhere else, like in a
Okay.
in
That's
a
great.
different
Thank you.
city. Okay.
Thank you, Clearly. Thank you. Great stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it was just a few seconds there that your audio went low, but yeah, we managed to rescue
Oh,
that. That
okay.
was great. So yeah, great stuff. It was actually just at first I thought you were a little bit hesitant at first, but once you kind of got into your rhythm, you were speaking at a
Yeah.
nice fluent pace, and yeah, that's what I remembered. I always remember that you were. Once you got comfortable, you were very fluent there, so that was great. Very clear in terms of your pronunciation as well, and you were linking your ideas together quite nicely. I liked the use of book. You said we had to book first when you were talking about going out, which is a nice British expression. You don't hear as often
Oh,
outside the
really?
UK. Yeah, yeah, to book something. Yeah, it's more common in the UK than it is in the United States. so, so that was nice. Also, you said you um, were referring to lots of activities that you like to do as well. So you're using lots of relevant vocabulary in that situation. You're saying that there's a limited slot as well,
Yes.
which I think that's where I lost the volume a little bit. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I think you're saying limited in terms of being able to go to places. Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. So restrictions. So the limitations or restrictions that were placed on
Oh,
you.
okay. Restrictions.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, that was good. Just a little bit of a slip. So you said at one stage, you said, as what I've told. A more natural expression was as I was saying. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. As I
yeah.
was. Uh,
Yeah. So and that's a nice expression to use, obviously, to link back to what you were talking about before.
okay. Okay. Yes, yes. As I was saying. Okay.
It was great that you paraphrased, by the way, as well. You're saying the weather that I love the most is great, rather than just saying my favorite weather. So great that you picked up on that. Um, but just apart from that, just a couple of slits with verbs. So you said
Mhm.
as time passed by, but it should be as time passes by because it's
Oh, as time
singular,
passes.
third person singular. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also you said I go tennis, but we wouldn't use go with tennis. So I play tennis would be the
Oh,
correct verb
okay.
with that. Yeah. When you use go, it's with ing activity. So go swimming, go running, go jogging. But yeah, so if it's ing, it's go. But otherwise, we say play or possibly do.
Oh, so
Um,
it's not. Wait, wait, wait. It's not proper to say I
mm.
go.
It's not proper to say I go tennis.
Ah,
No,
okay.
no, you'd have to say I
Okay.
play tennis. Yeah, but you can say go with ing activity. So go swimming, go running,
Mhm.
go skating. Yeah, anything with ing, you could use go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So thank
Thank you.
you once again, Clearly. I hope
Thank
next week is a
you.
bit
It's
more
nice.
less hectic.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so we've got time to do practice with one more student. So I'm just try and bring in a student who we haven't practiced with at least for the last week. So I'm just going to bring in Netra. Are you there, Netra? Hello, Netra. Are you there?
Yes, yes,
Okay, great.
yes,
Um,
yes.
how are you this week, Netra? Oh no, she's disappeared. Okay. So I'm going to bring in Peter because we haven't got much time. Hi there, Peter.
Hi.
How are
Hi,
you this
Alex.
week?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Good, good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So, Peter, we're going to do another part two topic now. Are you ready to do some practice?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Okay, let's look at the topic. So the topic we're looking at is truth. So, Peter, you have 1 minute then to prepare your response to this question.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Peter. So, are you ready to begin?
Sure.
Okay.
So,
So, please,
yeah.
describe a time when it was important to tell your friend the truth.
So I'm going to describe a time when it was very vital to tell my friend the truth. So I am currently having a study partner for my IELTS speaking test, and during the times that we have our practice, we usually have that moment where we usually tell our comments regarding uh, each of our performance regarding to the speaking exam. And I think it is really important to put in some really good comments, not as to impress her, or um, not as to make him or her feel that she is doing good, but it is also important to tell that to inform her those things that she is not doing good. So I am having this partner for my speaking test, and we usually run through the IELTS exam speaking part of the exam. So during those times that we are reviewing, um, we usually give comments on what are the things that we should improve on, so that we could achieve that goal on having the grade of 7 or more in that particular exam in the IELTS, which is I think it's important for us to achieve that goal to work in the United States of America. So it is really important to for us to help each other, to put in some really nice comments, but not nice most of the
Okay.
time.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Peter. Thank you. That's great. So, great to hear that you are doing that with your speaking partner, because it's a really good activity to engage in. So, yeah, that's great. And what you're doing with your speaking partner is quite similar to what we're doing now. So,
Yeah.
that's great stuff. So, like you said,
That's
important.
the thing that came into my mind.
Yes, that makes sense. Important to pick up on positive things, but also important to give direction for improvement as well. So absolutely. So great. First of all, it was great that you were able to speak for the 2 minutes, and that you provided relevant topic and vocabulary for the question. You used some nice expressions. So you said together you would run through the exam, which was nice. You used some accuracy in language as well. So improve on performance. So you're using the correct preposition there, which was great. There was some example of paraphrasing. So you said instead of importance at the beginning, you said very vital. Excuse me, but just be aware that vital already means very important. So just so
Very.
just vital. Exactly. Yeah. Um, but great that you were doing that. So other ways you could paraphrase that, obviously, like as important, like key, vital is a very good one. Things that are necessary is a similar word to important as well. But good. Just with some use of verbs. So you used "I'm having" a few times. You said "I'm
Okay.
having a speaking partner." Yeah, but with "have," we don't use the continuous form with it when it's used in that context. So yeah, just it'll be "I have a speaking partner," rather than "I'm having." Because there are some verbs we don't use in the continuous form, like state verbs, and so in that context we wouldn't really say "I'm having." And another one you said, we're hoping that I'm having a grade of 7. So in this case, we're hoping that we're gonna get the 7 in that case again, rather than having. Aside from that, there was one expression used. You said, we give feedback on, or we give comments on each of our performance, but rather than that, instead of each of, it would be each other's. So on each other's performance. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
There you go. So I think that was the expression you were going for, wasn't it? So those are the main comments that I would pick up on there. but yeah, well done, Peter. It was a good performance, and keep on practicing with your speaking partner. Really good habit to get into.
Yeah.
Thanks, then, Peter.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that brings us towards the end of the class for today. Thank you to all of those who have participated, both in the chat and also who were watching the class and participating live in the speaking as well. There is the opportunity to get involved if you are watching live on Facebook or YouTube and you want to get more directly involved in the class, then do take advantage of the IELTS scholarship program and the opportunity which you have to get involved in that. If you would love the opportunity to work as a nurse in the USA, then check out the Swoosh English Connetics USA IELTS scholarship, and you could do all of this for free. And the link for doing this will be shared in the YouTube and Facebook chat boxes, so make sure that you have a look at that. And click on the option as well of staff nurse in order to be able to access this. Okay, just click on staff nurse and you'll be able to access this opportunity. So thanks once again for all of those who have participated in the class, who are watching live, and if you're watching the recording, I hope that this is useful to you in your journey towards IELTS success. We'll be back with the class again next week. So until then, take care.